Hi, students. I want to take a few minutes right now to go over a few things that you received yesterday and that you have already glued into your interactive notebook. The first item is your vocabulary. So if you will go ahead and press pause on the video and turn to your vocabulary section to your Bosses and Philemon vocabulary. Okay, the first word is plot. You've seen that several times already this year on our vocabulary list, but it's something that we definitely need to make sure we understand. A plot is a series of events in a story. Number two, consume. In this case, consume means to eat or drink something. Number three, theme. Again, that's a word we've had several times this year. It's a life lesson that an author presents in a text. Number four, interlace. To join things together by crossing them over and under and over and under. Interlace. If you interlace your fingers, it looks like this. Okay, over, under, all the way. Okay, interlace. If you have a braid in your hair, you have interlaced hair to make that braid. Number five, astonishment. It means surprised. Okay, so if you are astonished at something, you're very surprised. If you have a look of astonishment on your face, that means you have a very surprised look on your face. Number six, dwell. It means to live in a particular place. Number seven, immortal. A person who lives forever and cannot die. Number eight, thatch. To make a roof with dried plant material. Okay, so they would take dried weeds and dried plants and interlace them together to create a roof for their homes. Back before we had shingles and other tin roofs and things like that, they would just take plant material, lace it together, braid it together, sort of, and put it as the roof of their house. Number nine, prompt. To do something immediately. So if I say, get out your notebook promptly, that means quickly, that means right now. Or if I say, you need to be prompt in turning in this assignment, that means get it turned in on time, don't delay. Number 10, perish. To die or be killed, perish. Number 11, humble. Not thinking of yourself as better than others, not proud. And number 12, bid, to express. For example, to bid farewell. The word bade is the past tense of bid. And in our story, Baucis and Philemon, you'll see the word bade. So just know that it's the past tense of bid. For the Monday night homework, you have a scrambled sentence activity. So let's look at number one together. You have a list of words that are scrambled up. Perish, will, and immortal, never. If you take those words and you unscramble them, you could create a sentence. You could create a sentence out of those 5 words that are listed there. An immortal will never perish. And you may write that down on your paper. An immortal will never perish. So you simply take all the words that are listed there and you unscramble them to create a sentence. Now in number 9, I put a note in Google Classroom for you. But for number 9, I have an extra word out here at the end, W-O-N. Just scratch through that. You do not need that word. It's extra. I goofed. Sorry. Tuesday night homework is to make a foldable. And it says you must use colored pencils or markers. Sometimes we're getting a little lazy with our foldables, so let's make sure we use color. Color is a strategy that helps us remember things a little bit better. Wednesday night homework is matching. You've got a left-hand column and a right-hand column. You simply match those together. Thursday night, you'll be studying for your quiz. Okay, those are your vocabulary words for the week. Now, I want you to turn to the JJ section of your interactive notebook. Your idiom this week is all tied up. It means very busy. And our example sentence says, I couldn't see the principal today because he was all tied up in meetings. Okay. Now, did he literally have his hands tied up like a prisoner or something? No. Okay. It just means he was busy. Okay. So if you might say, I'm sorry I couldn't text you back last night, but I was all tied up with watching the awards show. Okay. Or I was all tied up with cleaning my room because my mom made me. Okay. So all tied up means very busy. Okay. The next thing I want us to talk about is yesterday you did the plot diagram for the Nightingale and you turned that in and I graded that. But I want to take a moment to go over it with you right now so that you'll understand the ones you got right and the ones you missed. Okay? The exposition of our story. That's what we learn before the action starts. So in this case, it's F. In the exquisite palace and gardens of the Chinese emperor lived a wonderful singing nightingale that the emperor knew nothing about. Okay? Then we have an initiating event. What starts the action of the story? Initiate means to begin. So what begins or what starts the story? Well, that one is D. The news that there was a wonderful singing bird in his garden reached the emperor, so he wanted to hear it. And then we have things that happen, several events that happen leading up to our climax. The first important event would be H. When the king and kitchen maid found the nightingale, the king wept when he first heard it sing. He invited the bird to come live in the palace and sing for him. So basically what you're doing now is you're simply putting the events in order. Okay? So the second thing that would have happened in the story would be A. The emperor received a beautiful artificial singing bird whom they decided they loved more than the real bird. The real bird was banished from the kingdom. E would be the next event. A year later, the artificial bird broke, and afterward it could only sing once a year when carefully wound up. Our climax would be B. The emperor was dying when the real nightingale came to sing for him and saved his life. The resolution of the story, how it's all resolved. How does the story work out? G. The emperor invited the nightingale to live with him again, but the bird said he had been rewarded already by the emperor's tears. He would come visit and sing instead. And our conflict, the problem in the story, is C. It's difficult to choose between friends who will stand by you and false friends who will leave you. And that's true. Sometimes it's hard to know who's who in our lives, who really are real friends and who's not. All right, let me see if I can hold this up for you to take a look at. There you go. That's what your final product should have looked like when you turned it in to me yesterday. Okay. Now, moving on. We looked at 5 really short poems in our literature textbook, page 668. So if you will please, you can pause the video, and I want you to turn right now to page 668. I want to just quickly read through the poems to you. You will see that the title of the page is A Nash Menagerie by Ogden Nash. So our poet's name is Ogden Nash. The octopus. Tell me, O octopus, I begs, is those things arms or is they legs? I marvel at thee, octopus. If I were thou, I'd call me us. The panther. The panther is like a leopard, except it hasn't been peppered. Should you behold a panther crouch, prepare to say ouch. Better yet, if called by a panther, don't answer. The camel. The camel has a single hump, the dromedary too, or else the other way around. I'm never sure. Are you? The duck. Behold the duck. It does not cluck. A cluck it lacks. It quacks. It is specially fond of a puddle or pond. When it dines or sups, it's bottoms up. Bottoms ups. A caution to everybody. Consider the auk, becoming extinct because he forgot how to fly and could only walk. Consider man, who may well become extinct because he forgot how to walk and learned how to fly before he thinked. Those are kind of cute. I like Ogden Nash's poetry. Let's look at the questions. You have a little small piece of paper like this in your reading section. So you can go ahead and pause the video right now and turn to your reading section so we can go over these questions. Leave your textbook open. Number 1, a menagerie is a strange blank of different things. Okay, if you unscramble those letters, COLLECTION, collection. A menagerie is a strange collection. So it's a variety of things put together. So number 2 goes along with that one. Why is page 668 considered a menagerie? Well, because it's a group, a collection of just an assortment of poems. They're mostly about animals, but the last one is not. A caution to everybody. So it's just kind of just a collection put together of things that are not necessarily related. So that's number 2. So we'll say a group of poems not necessarily related. So it's a group of poems that's not necessarily related. Number 3, why is the word Nash in the title? He's our poet. He's our poet. If you look up at the top of page 668, you'll see his name. Number 4, cite the titles of the 5 poems and list how many lines each poem contains. All right, our first poem is The Octopus, and it contains 4 lines. Our second poem is The Panther. It contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. Now notice, we don't call them sentences in poetry. We call them lines, okay? The third poem title is The Camel, and it has 4 lines. The fourth poem is called The Duck, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines. And our final poem on the page in our menagerie is A Caution to Everybody. Let's see how many lines it has. 1, 2, 3, 4. It has 4 lines. Now, Miss Duncan, I do not understand that. Why would you say a caution to everybody has 4 lines? Okay, let me explain. If you will take a look, line 1 says, consider the auk. Line 2, becoming extinct because he forgot how to fly and could only walk. Okay, yes, they have gone down to a line underneath there, but it's still part of this line. You see how it's indented just a little bit? If they would have wanted to have made it the lines longer on the page, that would be considered 1 line. So there's 1 line and then there's 2. And then the third line starts with, consider man who may well become extinct. Again, the become extinct goes with the line up above it. And then our last line would be, because he forgot how to walk and learned how to fly before he thinked. Okay? All that's connected together as a line. So a caution to everybody has 4 lines. Number 5, list at least 5 sets of rhyming words. Oh, there's a bunch. Okay, you might have put begs and legs, octopus and us, leopard and peppered, crouch, ouch, panther, anther, to, you, duck, cluck, lax, quack, spawn, pond, sups, ups, awk, walk. Ooh, my lights went out. Extinct and thinks. I may have to get up and walk around a second to get some lights back on. Okay, so any of those, as long as you listed 5 sets, totally fine. Number 6, in the octopus, what does Nash mean by I'd call me us? Okay, well, when he says that, he's probably saying because octopus has so many legs that it should count like as more than one being, as more than one thing, because it has all 8 of those legs flopping around. So maybe you had something similar to that. If you did not have that, feel free to add it. Number 7, in the panther, Nash describes the animal as being peppered. What might peppered mean? Well, if you shake pepper out of a shaker, you get little black specks, don't you, on your food? Like, I love pepper on my mashed potatoes. So I'm going to sprinkle some pepper on there, and I've got little black specks all over my mashed potatoes. Well, he's saying that the panther has black spots on it. Okay? That's what he means by peppered. Number 8, Nash sometimes uses incorrect grammar to be humorous, such as begs to rhyme with legs. Find at least 2 more examples of incorrect grammar usage. There are several. One of the funniest ones to me is in the last poem, A Caution to Everybody, when he says, consider man who may well become extinct because he forgot how to walk and learned how to fly before he thinked. I think it's funny that he made the word think rhymed with extinct, even though think is not a word. The past tense of think is thought, but that still kind of cracks me up. It's kind of funny. Other grammatical errors that he has, let's see. Oh, when it dines or sups, it's bottoms ups. That's in the duck poem. Obviously, ups is incorrect, but he uses that to be funny. Better yet, if called by a panther, don't anther. Instead of the word answer, he's using anther. So he kind of made up that word to go along with the word panther, to rhyme with the word panther. So he has bunches of different examples of how he takes the language and uses it as his own. If you watch American Idol, you hear them say, take the song and make it your own. Well, that's kind of what Ogden Nash does. He takes the English language and writes poems that are his own. He changes the words as he needs to make his poetry interesting. Number 9, how would you describe the tone of Nash's poetry? Now, tone is how a poet, in this case, feels about the topics. Well, you probably put something like he sees these topics as very fun, as very interesting, humorous, you maybe put. Doesn't sound like he takes things too seriously. Sounds like he has a good sense of humor. Number 10, how would you classify the mood? That's your feelings after you read the poems. Well, probably you got a giggle or 2 out of them. So hopefully you thought they were uplifting. Hopefully you thought they were kind of funny and maybe cool and a little bit humorous. So hopefully some of those words describe your mood. Hopefully they made you happy. Number 11, Nash uses poetic license to write in his own unique style. Now, poetic license is that incorrect grammar, like when he said ups and thinked, and the puns like if called by a panther, don't anther. All of that is his license as a poet. Again, he's taking the language and making it his own. He can do that. He's the poet. Do you like that style? Why or why not? Probably most of us do like it because, again, it is fun, it is humorous, it is interesting. But maybe you don't. So if you don't, that's totally fine. Just make sure you explain your answer. Thanks, students.